Hello, welcome to Bayreuth and to University of Bayreuth, Africa Multiple. Stewart Sukuma, it's a great pleasure and a great honor that you have accepted to come to Bayreuth in the cold in January 26. Welcome to Bayreuth, and I think it would be really very nice if you could talk first a little bit about who you are, for those who might not know you, and about your work, because you have in the meantime, quite a long and very successful career.
um, uh, I think a successful career is discussable, but I accept that. Thank you so much. My name is Stewart Sukuma, and I born Luis Pereira, and Stewart Sukuma is my stage name. And I'm around doing music for 40 years now in Mozambique and around the world. Later, I became also a writer. I have one book that was already written, but I have two more books that I'm writing right now. So I am a recording artist. And occasionally, I am an actor, so I do act in movies. Very few, but so I don't consider myself an active actor, but that's something that I love. The interpretation of life in arts are very important. So that's what I do. So, but basically, my core business is music and this culture, of course. So I can act like advisor, or I can act like someone who knows a little bit about Mozambique. I don't know everything, but I think I know the most important things in Mozambique about culture.
Let's come, because you mentioned, and because that's 40 years of career. And so this is a collection of, I think, some of the outstanding songs. How did you how did you become a musician?
Well, after the independence, there were a lot of groups that mushroomed, in my hometown. I am from Kiliman. My parents are from Kiliman. I was born in Kwamba, but I am more familiar with the Kiliman culture. And I was part, while I was studying, I was doing school, I was part of these groups, cultural groups that mushroomed. First, I started as a dancer, when I was young, between my 10th and 14 years old. So, in being in contact with the dance, of course, the dance comes from the music. And there was like a live band playing, and I said, I want to be one of those guys playing. So I started to learn the guitar when I was like around 12 years old. Then when I moved to Maputo when I was 14, I just continued. I had a band in the school, and this became bigger. It grew up till, I said, okay, I don't think I can live without being, in the stage and music. I grew up doing this. Yeah.
And maybe you just mentioned your band as well. Maybe you can also say a little bit more about.
Yeah, I had a band in the school. And actually, I had a band in school with Gildo Tomás, was one of the first friends that, we started together. And after that, so I became professional. And my first professional band was Formação 82, and we used to play cover songs in nightclubs. In Portuguese, we called boate, so. And I was a night musician, interpreting, songs from other artists, for a couple of years until, let's say, until 1982, 1983, that I wrote my first song, which is in this album, actually, in this, it's Música Quente, and it was a reggae song. And I was only Stewart, because everyone in that time, they had like this. I wouldn't call fake names, but they were like our real names, stage names. But Stewart, a Mozambican guy, colonized by Portuguese, and having like a very Saxonic name like Stewart.
Yeah.
So was very weird, and that's when Sukuma came. But Sukuma came also with another consciousness, you know, about African culture. So that's where
You added Sukuma.
yeah, I added Sukuma, and I started to be more aware of how to be an African musician and a Mozambican musician. That's how I started my studies on African cultures in general, in Mozambican culture in particular. Yes.
And Sukuma originally your African name? No.
No,
You
no,
also have
not
chosen this name
so.
for its meaning.
Actually, I didn't choose. When I was recording at Firkiti, my first album in 1994, 95, the producer said, you know, Stewart, I'm gonna give you a tip. You are an African artist, and in your songs, I noticed that you said that word Sukuma, you know, to bring the people up, like singing and say Sukuma, let's dance, you know, and said I think you should use, you know. So Cedric Sampson and Fernando Perdigan, they were my producers in that album, said you should use that name as a second name, and then with the time you decide if you wanna lose the first one and just keep Sukuma as your name. I said okay, I think it's a good combination, Stewart Sukuma, you know, and I think it sells. So we started like a campaign to sell Sukuma and being part of my name. So later on, I discovered that Sukuma in Swahili is push.
Okay.
And you know, and I said that's perfect because that's what I want to do with my music, with Mozambican music. It's like the push. And then I discovered there is a tribe called Sukuma in Kenya. There is a stew, a food called Sukuma, and in a poetical sense, Sukuma means rise up, which is a very strong word for me for social issues, you know, and if you want to bring people with you, it's rising. And every time that I tell this word, what comes up in my mind is that rising up of Bob Marley song when he's on the cover of the CDs, him with his very open, wide open arms, you know, and you know, saying to the people, let's rise up, you know. So, and I think, I mean, I kept that, all those combinations, I think, made me also very aware the importance that every one of us, we have in our societies. That any contribution, even the smallest one, is important if you want to make something like big. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very meaningful name.
Yeah, yes, everything goes together. I don't think nowadays I choose anything just for a chance. I choose because there is, it's significant, you know. It's yeah. So yes, of course, and I think all my acts, my behavior, and everything has to be together with what I think my life should be and my contribution to the world would be. You know, you don't have two Sukumas. So actually, Luis Pereira and Stewart Sukuma are exactly the same person. So I'm not, even though, you know, my interpretation takes me to another level, to a level where I can perform and I can represent a character. You know, I never forget where I come from, and I never forget that there is this meaningful thing that I want to follow, you know, to make sense in everything that I do in terms of package. Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe you can also talk a little bit more about your music, because in quite a long career, if people have a chance then to listen also to this CD, there are very different genres of music.
Yes.
So maybe you can say something about your favorite ones, or how you choose them, or it's a period. So actually, about the music.
Ute Fendler. I don't choose. I mean, I think the music choose me, and you meaning something that's you know. That's not a common question for me. Nobody ever asked me about that kind of question. You know, because I think it's very different. As I told you, my first song was Música Quente. I sang it in Portuguese. It's a reggae song. And I think is part of is part of building my career. And as I was learning more about African African heritage, my music changed, you know, alongside my knowledge, you know. So if you see from 1982 till now, I mean, there is like a way, you know, to being more traditional and more African, to the point that now I used to compose in a keyboard, you know. Okay, first I started with a guitar because we didn't have anything, but you know, in the most profuse moments of my career, so I had all the technology, that keyboard and everything, and it sounds great, sounds with quality. But I didn't want that. So I went back. I started to go back to the roots, you know. So now I'm playing a little bit of mbira, you know. I'm playing guitar, but in a very, very African way. And I'm starting learning Timbilash with Shani Wagun, you know, and I'm still learning Mbira with the main Mbira and Ivan Mukavel and the master Luca Mukavel, you know. So, and I'm just going. I mean, it's the other way around. I'm going back to the roots. So that's my my
trajectory.
Trajectory. Exact. That's the right. It's my trajectory. So. If you listen to this CD, you're gonna listen to a lot of stuff, but you can make your own patch, you know, in the way where I am today in 2026. Yeah.
Okay. And
oops, sorry.
And you were talking or mentioning rapidly your book in the beginning. Honestly, I didn't even know that you had published a book, so I'm very curious about that. Maybe you can say a little bit more about the book.
Yeah, this is o alfaiate arte de costurar o amor. I'm going to try to translate. It is like the trailer and the art of sewing love. You know, it's when I talk about love, it's not a love between a couple, between a man or a woman, or between a man and a man, you know, depending on what orientation you have, sexual orientation you have, it doesn't matter. But for me, it's nothing like that. It's the love for everyone, love that we spread, you know, to the people. So this book, it's a compilation of a lot of small poems that I wrote alongside like 10 years of my musical career. And I said, okay, and there were a lot of people. I was publishing my poems in social media, and there were a lot of people saying, Stewart, you should do a book, because there was no intention. I'm not a writer, or I can say I am a natural writer because I write my own songs. I compose my own songs, but I am not a writer as it is, you know. I don't compare myself with Mia Couto or Paulina Chiziane, those really great Mozambican writers, or Ungulan Bakakosa, you know. But I decided to make a book, and I said, okay, and I'm going to do a combination between my the way my brain works, because I don't want to lose, you know, I don't want to lose what I have here. So, and I think it's a good exercise to write. Let me write things that make sense.
Okay.
So this is a compilation of all the poems that I wrote. And I talked to this writer from Angola in Portugal, Agualusa.
I know him.
And I talked to Agualusa, and I said, Agualusa, you know, I'm going to send you some poems. Can you just help me to choose the right ones?
Okay.
You know, and after a while, he wrote me back and said, Stewart, you know, out of 100 and something poems, I choose like 60 or 80 poems that it's more you as a writer than as a musician, you know, because I mean, and you are the poems that I choose that you should publish, you know, it defines you as a writer, not a writing for a music, but a writer like you know. So, yes, o Alfaiate Arte de Costurar Amor. It was launched in Portugal at Lisbon Lisbon Fair, you know, and that's what I'm doing. It's also, you know.
Interesting. I will look for it.
And now I'm writing one book which is gonna be maybe like a autobiography of what I've been through, but with a lot of components, social components. And I'm also writing for children.
Okay.
Infanto juvenile, so it's a book that's gonna take, like, it's a compilation of 5 books, and it's like an adventure book that involves 2 kids, that are very, very much concerned about the environmental situation, social situation,
Yeah, okay.
and I'm gonna write first book, and I'm inviting 4 other writers, to join me and to write the other 4 books out of this project that I
Sounds
am
like
doing.
a big and great project.
Let's hope that it becomes reality. But the first book is almost there. It's in the middle now, right now. I already start to write a long time ago, and now,
Okay.
I am in conversation with the Fundação Fernando Leite Couto in Maputo, because they are a bit interested in publishing that book.
Okay, great. Yeah, Stuart. So I mean, this time it's your first time in Bayreuth, but we are also. I'm happy that I could invite you. It's also because it's linked to your work with Sol de Carvalho, with the film The Anchorage of Time that will be screened at Cineplex in Bayreuth. And you were an actor in the film, and you also wrote the music for the film. So it would be nice if you could tell us more about this experience, making the film, writing the music.
I mean, being an actor in movies or documentaries, as a fictional character, or as myself, it's been always one of my dreams, but I said, I'm not going to force it. It's to be natural, and the only thing that I'm going to pursue is my music career, and maybe my music career will give me all those benefits. And of course, I've been working for a long time in composing and writing songs for documentaries and series, and but doing the soundtrack for a feature movie, this is my first time. And being an actor with a fictional character is also my first time, because I already did one that I acted as myself, it's just Stewart Sukuma in a South African movie about the story about this guy. The story about he came from a very poor family, and he wanted to be a star, and I was in the middle of his, and then I got sick, and he got his spot, so it was a beautiful story, actually, very social, with a lot of awareness. And but being that character in the Souls movie, it was all against my odds, because because I never thought that I was going to play a character this against my everything that I've learned in terms of individual, So I'm playing this very corrupt policeman in the movie, and thanks to all those great actors like Branquinho, I mean, everyone, like, is their profession, So and they let me be part of this great situation. So I was very surprised when Sol Carvalho called me, because I've been telling Sol, I want to be part of your movie for the last 20 years. So he started to say, Stuart, you want to be part of the movie? I mean, I'll give you like one part of the movie as an actor, and you can write the songs for the movie. So I was supposed to write 5 pieces, and I ended up writing all the songs, all the music, and also all the special effects. And the special thing that I was also surprised about was the people saying, the music is great, and the music, but for me it was just music, because I mean, that's the way that I see Mozambican music in particular, and in general the African music. You know, so it's.
But maybe as maybe not everybody had a chance to see the film, or will not have a chance to see the film. We can maybe give a little bit more of also of context. So the film was the filmmaker Sol de Carvalho, one of the big figures of African cinema. I mean, Mozambican cinema, from the very beginning of Mozambican cinema, and the script writing, as far as I know, was also Sol de Carvalho based the story on a novel written by Mia Couto. And they even have co-written the script, so I thought this is a very special film. And you wrote the music, and for more, to make it even more special, is the whole film was made on the Ilha, or on the island of Mozambique, so in a very historical place that has a very important role also in the history of Mozambique and of the whole, I would say, the whole coastline. So for me, when I saw the film for the first time, it's a very special constellation in the making of the film, with a big name writer, Mozambican writer like Mia Couto, who accepted to co-create the script with Sol de Carvalho in this very special place. I mean, it was really. I have visited the island only once, but it's a very, let's say, the atmosphere on the island, you can tell as a crossroad of cultures and of different times. And I think the film is also translating this. And then it starts also with a very big panoramic in the beginning, where you see the ocean, and it's about storytelling and the music. So just, I didn't want to talk so much, but just to give a little bit more of, for those who will follow maybe then the interview one day. And so this very special combination of different creators who come together to create this film, and the music, as you said, people told you, and I also would highlight that I think the music is part of to make this film also very special. So maybe you can also say something about this experience being on the island, linking it to different cultures, and the music that really connects with this very complex space and time.
When Sol de Carvalho called me and asked me to be part of the movie and writing the songs, of course I had to see the movie first time, and I identified myself with the story, because I think I lived part of that story. I was already a man when I was a boy, but I was 14 years old when the independence came, and that story happens in that time. And of course, I recognize a lot of situations in the movie, so it made me. It wasn't difficult to read the movie and to make the songs for the movie, and because of two situations. One, I'm used, when I grew up, to listen to a lot of voices, because voices are the first instrument of the African music. You know, you don't need anything else to express yourself through music, because the voice is there. It's your body, is your voice. You know, so it's a natural thing for the Africans, you know, in general, and for Mozambique also. We have that culture of voices, and the challenge was, Stewart, I want you to make the music only with voices, okay? Nothing else, even the effects. That was the challenge. But making the music, it was easy to read what happened in the situation, and we would translate the situation, even some words of the script, and turn those words from the script into the music. You know, sometimes I would use a metaphoric way to do it, and sometimes I would go straight to the point. You know, so most of the Mozambicans will understand when we sing, because they are like proverbs in some of the approaches that I did to the songs, you know. And once we decide to make the first song, actually the first song that we showed to Sol Carvalho, and Sol Carvalho says, I don't like that song. I said, okay.
Well, it's a good start.
And I said to Sol, okay, it doesn't matter, because we're going to make like 100 or 200 songs, and then we can choose the right songs for the... And he didn't use the first song that we wrote. And I said, in any song that you don't use for the movie, I'll be using for myself, you know, yeah. So, and... but it's always a challenge. When people say no, it's not... I understand that that person is not saying you don't serve for the work. It's like, okay, not for this, but we can still try. And Mia Couto and Sol, they were in the studio whenever they want to be. I see they witnessed the work, and they could give me also the right direction. Say, okay, I mean, you are in the right, now don't go this way, don't go that way, go this way, go straight. And they explained me very well what they wanted in the end of the movie. And of course, I had Belita and Domingas, singers, and I had Bia Mat and these boys from No Limits voices. And so every day I had all those voices to work with me and tell them what to do. And also, of course, exchanging ideas. They would bring a lot of ideas because they are professionals on that, and choirs and voices. And it was beautiful working with them. Yeah.
You just mentioned that some of the songs are also based or inspired by proverbs. Could you maybe give one example?
Yes, there is a song that we did, that we talked about before you kill an animal, you know, for food, you have to feed that animal, you know. So there is a proverb in African proverb that so in order for you to kill for your survival, you know, you need to feed that animal first. You don't want to kill some. It's one of the proverbs that I remember right now. But there is a lot that we used. I mean, if you see the African heritage, the storytellings that are, they are a big part of our well, I'm gonna do a repetition. Our heritage, because lots of the information that passed through generations are through oral. It's, you know, books and are very new things for me, and even in Mozambique nowadays, in a modern era, there are a lot of people that pass the information through voices and singing and everything, you know. And of course, those proverbs still very alive when musicians and writers, when they write songs, they still have those proverbs as a big foundation for what they want to write today. Yeah. So, and I am not aware of that. I am aware of that, and I'm still using as a big force of my inspiration in those cases.
And in terms of music, because we talked about different genres, because I'm not so sure, but what I said or asked before also about your CD, but there are different, I mean, very different songs also in the film. Were they inspired then also by different music genres, or maybe also different, let's say, cultural backgrounds that would speak to the story?
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, I was expecting you to,
Okay, then
to ask me.
please.
You know, it's a very personal way of writing of and hearing songs. And I'm aware of that because I've been working with a lot of musicians, and each of us, we have different ways of composing, writing, and approaching, you know, and interpreting. You know, so when I hear a situation and when I hear a melody, I already know which language is gonna fit in those melodies. That's why I use different languages and different. So and the languages and they have their own melody. Like I'll give an example. You know, if you're the Makua people from north of Mozambique, when they talk, they have their own melody, their own rhythm. Shangana people from south, they also, the language brings another rhythm and another melodies. It doesn't mean that you cannot like mix melodies, and a lot of musicians, some are aware of that, and others they just do it. You know, they do a lot of that. But I can hear in several of situations, it start with a melody like. I know that I'm gonna do like a Shangana melody because it sounds Shangana. But if I'm doing like Tunia, 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 this is more African Arab melody, you know. So I know exactly what I want to do, and by reading the movie, by reading the scenes in the movie, I could place it exactly. Listen to dialogues. I could say, okay, this part here, you know, it goes well with a Makua or Makonde or Shopi or Shangana, you know, language, because of the rhythm and because of the melodies that I want to put in each part of the song. Yeah.
Okay, as we are talking, or you just mentioned rhythm, would you say that the music that you're writing for this film, that it would also link, because there are a lot of songs also that are linked directly to the ocean, because it's an island.
Yes.
And there comes another rhythm, of course, when you are on an island and you have the water and all these sounds of the water around the island. Would you say that some of the songs that you were writing have also been connected to the surroundings where the film was made?
Of course. Nevertheless, there is a situation when I use Shangan songs while, you know, the location of the movie was Makua, area de Mozambique, you know. So, but I'm gonna give an example of the first voice that you hear is one of the characters telling this story, you know, and comes no tenenina kwa jama. It places exactly in the location where you filmed. This is a Makua melody, you know, and also this is a trigger for the soundtrack of the movie, which is the song that comes up with all the credits, you know. No tenenina kwa jama, maikupoto pizza. Ai tu veleni vare ke tutsorera, atiorera la buenui. This is undiscussable. Makua melody, you know. So this, I have no doubt of it because, you know, I am part of that, you know. So, and of course, the situation and the place leads me to the way I wrote the songs, you know.
Okay, so we can just also invite everybody here, whenever they have a chance to see the film, watch the film, and pay attention to this very special co-creation of songs. I mean, like an acoustic universe with the writing of Miyakoto and the filmmaking and visuals made by Sol de Carvalho.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this wonderful exchange. Thank you for coming to Bayreuth. And we will continue discussions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I would love to leave this book and this CD for the university.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, so, and I hope, I mean, I hope you can use it, you know. It's in Portuguese, but I hope one day I can translate into Dutch and other languages. In this case, I would love to say to the people of Beirut that I'm not saying it because I am here. I really like this place. It's going to be one of in my list, one of my favorite places.
Okay,
I was in Panama. I was in Panama a couple of years ago, and I went to places that I never thought that I would be, and met like really wonderful people. I met people in Brazil, and now it's so Beirut will be in Germany. You know, one of my favorite places
That's
also.
okay, thank
because
you.
of everything, you know. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
And thank you
And thank
also
you for sharing.
Thank you, Ute, for the work that you're doing with the Africa studies, you know, including the Africa multiply, you know, so in this university in Europe. So I guess it's going to be also very important for Mozambicans, in particular in the Africa in general, to be aware of the work that you're doing here with everybody around the world.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.